Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, Danielle, Cheryl, one of the many ways we are celebrating Black History Month is to highlight some of the positive changes going on in and around the communities around the country.
Yeah, that's right. The Urban League has been empowering communities and changing lives since 1910 in their fight for civil rights. Joining us today is President and CEO George Dean from the Greater Phoenix Urban League. Welcome to Main Street Living. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, we understand that you have been with the Urban League for 50 years, working in various locations like Phoenix, LA, Omaha, and you started in Phoenix in the early 70s. What would you say was the biggest challenge at that time?
Well, in the 70s, employment was the big thing. We were trying to get people of color, Black and brown folks here in the Phoenix area, get them into jobs and so forth. Education was also a problem in terms of the fact that we had one of the highest dropout rates in the country as far as our high schools were concerned, and people graduating and so forth. Discrimination was still very strong, going very strong in the early 70s when I started with the Urban League and so forth. So that was another thing that we were working against. The Urban League is considered to be a civil rights social service organization. So when there's discrimination and prejudice and so forth, we work to try to correct those kind of things. And that was certainly the case in the early 70s.
What was the unemployment rate in the 70s for people of color, and what kinds of jobs were you providing training for? I know that education was a big part of what you guys do as well.
Well, we found we have in the Urban League what we call the hidden unemployment index, which means that people of color was at least 2 to 3 times greater than what the unemployment rate was. The unemployment rate, is figured by those folks who go to the unemployment offices. And a lot of our folks were not going to the unemployment offices because they didn't feel like they were doing anything for them, but they would come to us and so forth. So the official unemployment rate was like 6%, and we were looking at 12, 13, 15% unemployment among Black and brown folks here in the Phoenix area.
Oh man. And I know the Urban League has learned on you a lot. You've taken on assignments in several different cities around the country. And then you
Yeah.
came back to Phoenix in the early 90s. What did you find had changed since the 70s there?
The more things changed, the more they remained the same. There was still a lot going on in terms of the discrimination. Still was not finding people of color into elected positions and just really being a part of the society and so forth. So education was still a big problem. When I got back here, we was also looking at housing discrimination we're finding that banks was not living up to the Community Reinvestment Act in terms of making loans to the declination rate among Black and brown folks was like 5 to 1 as it was to white people and so forth. So like I said, the more they stay the same, the more
Yeah.
things change, the more they stay the same and so forth. So that's still something that we are fighting against. Even now that we're in the 2000s, we're still fighting against those kind of
Wow.
things.
Well, one of the good things that's remained the same is that you guys are still providing all of these resources. And these days, your group is working to build civil engagement with voting rights initiatives, economic empowerment with programs for first-time home buyers. But one of the
Mhm.
most significant might be your work on education and your Head Start programs. What can you tell us about those programs? How many you have operating? How many students are enrolled?
We're very, very, very proud of our Head Start program. In fact, we consider that our flagship program. We have some 1,100 young people, 3, 4, and 5-year olds that's enrolled in our programs. They're working in 6 different school districts here in the greater Phoenix area. And they call it Head Start. We call it early childhood development because what we're doing is really teaching these young children, getting them ready for kindergarten and so forth, teaching them social relations, how to get along with each other and not hitting each other, and getting to know their alphabets and getting to know the names of and where they live, their addresses where they live, and so forth. So we're very proud of that program. We're very proud.
Awesome.
I'm
Oh,
helping
wow.
so many kids.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for doing everything you're doing. And we got to wrap it up here. But quickly, how can people learn more and get in touch?
Well, they can get in touch with us a couple of ways. Number one, our phone number is 602-254-5611, or they can do www.gphxul.org.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for
George.
having me. Thank you.
Yeah. And there are Urban League affiliates all around the country. To find the group nearest you, just go to the National Urban League website at nul.org.
Great information as always, Cheryl. And coming up next, we are going to be heading to a very unique Hall of Fame. Don't go anywhere.